Hey guys, what's up? Seeger of my house bidding you welcome to another video. This one is a video review that I promised in my last video about the game that I have been playing for the last couple of weeks, basically since Christmas until a little after Christmas actually. I finished Breath of Fire 3 and did the review of that, and then I started this game, so maybe mid-January until now. It's Silent Hill F. I played it on the Sony PlayStation 5, but I believe it's available for basically everything. This is the Day 1 edition. My wife bought this for me for Christmas. She bought it when it came out, but saved it until Christmas Day, because she wanted it to be a nice surprise. Last year, I played and beat Silent Hill 2 Remake, which I thought was pretty good. It was good. Worthy remake, although many of the issues that I have with this game I also had with the other one, although I did have a little bit more issue with this one than 2. I do think I prefer 2 over this one, Silent Hill F, but I will say now, before I start everything I'm going to say is basically nitpicking. This is a very, very good game, like a very solid maybe 8 out of 10 I'd say. The only thing that shaves off a couple of points, basically, is not really feeling like Silent Hill and being a little too combat heavy, but we'll get to those. I'll go through the game first. You play as Hinako, set in 1960s Japan in a town that doesn't really exist. It's made up for this game. It is, thank God it's on the back here. I know a lot of Japanese words, but the longer ones get me. When I was in Kyoto, like I didn't even know what suburb my hotel was in, because it was yeah, go away. It doesn't. Yeah, when I was in Kyoto, I could not remember the name of the suburb that my hotel was in, because it was just too many syllables, and when you say them out it's kind of difficult to say out, but it is Ebisugaoka. My wife thinks it's real. I don't think it is. I don't think they're going to use the name of a real Japanese town. Maybe it's a classical one, I don't know. Kind of like how like Tokyo wasn't always called Tokyo, it was called something else before Tokyo. But you play as Hinako, who leaves her house after her parents have a big argument. And the father is a drunk, the mother is very submissive. Her sister Junko has gone off to become married, although it's also kind of implied that it's her way of like running away from home, but she was of age to become married anyway, so it's not that big of a point, I don't believe. And you go into the town, and the town's pretty normal to start with. It is like a cloudy day and whatever, and it's like an old muddy rural town, kind of before everything in Japan got like layered with concrete. Like it's kind of like that. There's a period in like the 70s and 80s where Japan had their big economic upturn, and like the manufacturing industry really went wild, and they just like put concrete everywhere because they were making it and they were making money on it, so we got to use it and put it somewhere. But yeah, this is from before then. She meets up with her friends Rinko, Shu, I believe the last friend's name is Suka. It doesn't actually matter, she dies like immediately. A fog rolls in, red spider lilies start to sprout up out of the ground, and then your friend gets like possessed with something. She starts just like growing things out of her, like these little worm creatures come out of her, and then she gets killed by someone wearing a it's like a traditional Japanese wedding gown. It's a shiramuko or something like that. It's like white dress or something. it's like a traditional Shinto dress for weddings. And this all comes back around like pretty fast. You figure out kind of what's going on. If you know each individual object that's being shown, then you kind of piece it all together pretty quickly. But if you're not familiar with these objects, I could see it being very obscure, and definitely by the end of the first run of the game, many things are still quite obscure, even if you have like a general idea of what's happened. So I will go into spoilers here. Basically, the town is being clouded with fog, red spider lilies and monsters, because in the spirit world, Hinako is trying to be lured in to become a Inari shrine god's wife. It happens every so often. Like, I think when each generation of the Inari is like a fox god. Like, so every time a fox god is born, a new one, he takes someone in the town as a bride, I think, is what happens. And like bad things happen for a while, but then once they get settled down, like kind of, I believe it resets. That was my interpretation. I've not done every ending of the game. I've only done the initial ending, and then like quickly looked up what the others are. But I kind of pieced that together from what I saw. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but that's kind of the gist. So Hinako, Shu, and Rinko have to like try and escape the monsters, and when this happens, it's actually quite funny. The game itself is a third-person action game. It's hard to call it survival horror, although there are a lot of monsters and like there's horror elements, but the game, I feel, is just a little too action-based. It doesn't feel like any monster is really like a super threat unless you're playing on hard mode. Then they are. They do jump scare you. They'll like hide around corners and jump you, so you do have to be ready. But you are well equipped to fight back with them. You get all these melee weapons. I don't know if there are any ranged weapons in the game. I did not find any. But I had no trouble finding melee weapons. I had no trouble finding a vast assortment of healing items, such as like little red pills, which does come into the story. Hinako has a lot of headaches, and she takes these red pills as a way to like reduce her headaches. But Shu, who is like her unofficial boyfriend, they call each other partner. They're like I think what they were calling each other was like, I'm not sure if it was translated as partner or if it's more like husband-wife, but they were calling each other that playfully. Like, I thought I heard I played with Japanese on. I am still trying to learn Japanese. It's a very long process and a lot of stuff has come in the way of it, but like I do pick up words every now and again, like Daijobo, I always pick that up for some reason. And like Suma, I definitely heard in the game somewhere, so I thought that was Shu calling Hinako wife in like a playful way. And Shu, his family does like traditional medicines and stuff, so he starts making her traditional medicines for her headaches, and it's implied somewhat that all of it's going on in her head, especially at the end of the first playthrough. It's implied that, but I don't believe that's actually happening. I believe that there is supernatural elements at play. And Rinko is like, basically her only point is to be jealous of Shu and Hinako. Like, that's literally every single time that character's on screen, she's either mentioning how jealous she is or trying to sabotage Hinako. She pushes her downstairs and shit. Like, I actually really didn't like the Rinko character. Not as like a despicable bad guy character or bad girl character. I just didn't like the character in general. I thought like you could not have this character in the game, and I don't believe it makes a difference. it actually doesn't make a difference, because in the end it turns out like her and Shu just hang themselves. Like that's like their ending. But at least in the initial playthrough, that's their ending. Shu plays a much bigger role in further playthroughs. But I always felt like I was very well equipped to fight monsters. You find lots of weapons like crowbars, baseball bat, scythes, knives, axe, hatchets, sledgehammers. Like you find lots of things. And the monsters themselves are not super tough. Some of the bosses are pretty tough, especially on hard mode, but the normal monsters aren't very tough. Some of them you can run away from, some of them chase after you, so you do have to fight them. But you can do dodges, like dodge attacks, to fully dodge their attacks. Similar to like I don't want to mention Dark Souls, but it did feel like Dark Souls at times, especially boss fights felt like Dark Souls, where you're learning attack patterns and learning when to punish attacks, and you can parry and riposte in this game, which I thought was like crazy. Like if you attack an enemy, when they do a certain attack, they'll flash a certain color, and if you attack them at that point, they'll be like dizzied and you can attack them a heap of times. Which, saying that about a Silent Hill game, didn't sit super well with me, and at least on the initial playthrough, I kept thinking like, man, this like just isn't Silent Hill to me. Like, in saying that though, it's like, even if I don't think it's a great Silent Hill game, it is just like a very good game in general. As I said, like, anything bad I could say about it is just nitpicking. Like, it is a very good game. It plays very well, everything works, it's not janky or glitchy or nothing. So basically you're just running around the town the whole game trying to find a way to escape. You go to each character's house, you go to the schoolhouse, and you go... I'll say the two best areas in the game, by none, are the schoolhouse and Hinako's house. Because both of them remind me of classic Silent Hill in that you get like this area, this closed-in area where it's very claustrophobic, and there's like all of these rooms, and you're checking each room to see if they open, or if there's something inside, or if there's a puzzle you need to note and come back to. And I felt like those were the best parts of the game. I felt like the weakest parts of the game was just being in the overworld, and those parts weren't bad. I didn't feel like the town was incredibly inspired. I was checking the map heaps because I didn't really notice anywhere that could be like a like areas of interest. Like, you are kind of railroaded between sections, but you don't get lost or nothing. But I just didn't feel like they were super inspired. Sometimes Hinako gets knocked out and ends up going to another world. This is like the spirit world where she meets that guy. I actually don't remember his name at the moment. He does get named in subsequent playthroughs, but he's basically like the offspring of the Inari god. And he has like... he's basically like a superhero or something. And it is like a power struggle between him and another god that's trying to like penetrate the space and like influence Hinako. And you see in the initial playthrough all of these like signs that say like don't trust the fox god, and like you see this doll everywhere that kind of influences you in various ways. But at least in the initial playthrough, as she goes through the other world, she becomes more open to his suggestions and starts doing things that he tells her without batting an eye. And some of the stuff she does is like pretty nasty. I won't spoil it, but like if you play the game, you'll find out, man. And there is one scene where you get like, you're in the normal world, and the boss monster that kills the character in the beginning who wears the Shirumaku, I believe that's what it's called, the wedding gown. It's been chasing you all game, but it like grabs you by the throat and it's got like a weird beast arm. Like think like what you would think a werewolf's arm would be like. It's got one of those, and then later on in the other world, like you see the arm and then it becomes part of Hinako. I won't fully spoil that, but like whoops, I hit the tripod. After that it should be pretty clear kinda what's going on here. Like you piece it a little bit together by that point. Like you're not fully, you still think like, oh, so is the other world real as well? Are there two Hinakos? Is there a power struggle between them or something? And through subsequent playthroughs, you do kind of get confirmation of that. Like there are two Hinakos, and in the best ending, they kind of join forces and are happy together. Like they beat the bosses and they're just happy together and like living in the fog town. But like I thought the other world sections were really good. I thought they were really, really good. I would have loved like a whole game just set in that, like kind of like a Hellblade kind of game. You know how like Hellblade is like all this crazy stuff going on and you're like in this other world. Like I really enjoyed that. You also get weapons that don't break in that world, and I really like that. There's a lot of Shinto symbolism in the game. You make offerings to shrines, you save at shrines, and you also upgrade at shrines. You can collect the what are they called? They're like little wooden plaques. You can draw on them and leave a message on the back. If you've been to a Shinto shrine in Japan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I just don't remember the name. Is it like I actually don't remember. Omamori, that's it. Omamori. So you get those and they act as like upgrades. Some of them are pretty useful. I got one that heals you every time you defeat an enemy, and that made it so that I basically never needed a healing item again. As long as you get good at the combat and parrying, riposting, you basically never need a healing item again, and I was more or less donating all of the healing items I would pick up to the shrines when I would find them, the shrine boxes. You get stuff like, it's weird, like dead birds and stuff. Like I don't know why you would want to donate stuff like that to a shrine, but I'm sure there is deeper symbolism to it. What else? I don't have a whole lot to say about this game compared to others. I played it, I enjoyed it, but didn't feel like, I felt like it was a game I was just playing through. Like maybe I'll go back to it and do a second playthrough and try and get some of the other endings and see if I enjoy it more. Apparently the story was written by the guy who wrote what's that anime? I had it on DVD. I probably showed it not that long ago. I think it's called When They Cry. It's about like a New Year's celebration, and in this little town, and like the town has a dark history and a supernatural side. Like the first 3 episodes show you this story, and then the next 3 episodes are like telling it from a different perspective, or like, oh, here's some small detail changed that completely recontextualizes the story and you get a new angle of the same story. And it definitely felt like that in this. Like it fed you about 50% of the story in the first playthrough, and similar to like a Nier Automata, you can be satisfied with what you've played in the first playthrough, but you'll get more out of it through further playthroughs. So I might have to dive back into this again. It's not long, it's like 7 or 8 hours. I think I finished this in just under 7 hours because I got the hang of the combat. The enemies weren't really challenging, so I was kind of blowing through them near the end. Boss fights are good. Yeah, boss fights are good. It does the cool Silent Hill thing I like, where boss encounters later on become just regular enemies. I love that in games. I love when they do that, and like it brings up the tension more, because like now there are normal enemies you can fight, but these enemies are like, well, it's 100% not worth my time to fight these, so I just have to try and get around them, and there is good tension to that. Graphics are good, very good, although Unreal Engine 5, there's something about it, man. I can tell I'm playing an Unreal Engine 5 game when I'm playing it. There's something, that lack of polish, man. Like I've been looking up footage of like the Source engine and all the little physics-based stuff you can do in that, and then I played this game, and there's a scene early on where there's a clothesline, and there's like a sheet hanging from it, and you would think, oh, I'll just run through the sheet. Like if you ran through a sheet, you'd just go through it. Like it's fabric, look, fabric moves. But when you run to the sheet, your character just stops. They don't touch it, they won't go through it. And I thought, we took it for granted when so many games had those little details put in, and now that they're gone, like, and people don't even realize, and they don't even care, and maybe it doesn't even matter, but I'm just lamenting. Yeah, it's a very good game. It's very, very good. I think I'm definitely going to jump into a second playthrough. Maybe this weekend I'll start, because I don't have a plan to play another game. I was going to play a Mafia game that my wife bought for me, but I might put that off a little bit to play through this a second time. Depends if a second playthrough is just as long. If I look it up and see it's like you can save a bit of time somewhere, or it's not as long, or like you get to a scene and then it fully changes into another game, that would be cool. As long as it's not just a new game plus with like a handful of different cutscenes, because that would be lame. But I do recommend it. I think it's a good game, man. It's a good game, just little nitpicks, like, I think the music is not memorable at all. I don't remember anything, but when I think of Silent Hill, I think of that jingle at the beginning, like, that's not a very good rendition, but that's what I think about. And when I play this game, I think the music was there, but similar to a John Carpenter soundtrack, it's just there. It's just window dressing. It's in the background, but you're not fully listening to it. And, yeah, check it out. I think it's good. I liked the journal. Like, when you open up the journal and it fills in as you go through the game, it has like character details and bios and stuff and monster descriptions. I really liked that, and I liked the little 2D artwork in there. I thought that stuff was really, really nice. But other than that, like, I would check it out. It's definitely worth a recommendation. If you liked the Silent Hill 2 remake, it's definitely worth playing. But if you're expecting a 10 out of 10 masterpiece on a first playthrough, maybe just keep your expectations in check. Go in to have a good time, don't expect to be blown away. Alright, that'll do it. Thank you guys for watching. See you at my house, bidding you farewell. Have a good one.